there. This is Max from Play AI, just touching base to see if you have any questions about our ultra-fast voice solutions. We're super excited about the possibilities and would love to chat more. Life is suffering. It's difficult. It's unpredictable. And yet, in the midst of the struggle, we find ourselves waiting, yearning for something more. We wait for the breakthrough, the opportunity, the answer. But waiting is not passive. It's not an excuse to wallow in self-pity or stagnation. No, waiting is a process of becoming. Think about it. Before anything meaningful happens, chaos erupts. It's the storm before the calm, not the other way around. Why? Because the structure that is about to emerge must be stronger than the one that existed before. And for that to happen, you have to endure. But here's the challenge: many of you are not ready for the thing you're waiting for. You think you are, but you're not. You want success, but you haven't taken on the burden of discipline. You want love, but you haven't become someone capable of sustaining it. You want purpose, but you haven't committed to responsibility. And so you wait, not because God is withholding, but because He is preparing you. Because the moment your blessing arrives, it will demand something of you, something greater than you are right now. And if you aren't prepared, it won't feel like a blessing at all. It will feel like a burden. Endurance is not merely the ability to bear hardship. It is the transformation that occurs within you as you face suffering head on. It is the test that refines, the fire that purifies, and the struggle that strengthens. Think about the great figures of history, those who achieved something meaningful, something lasting. Were they handed their victories on a silver platter? Of course not. They endured. They suffered. They bore the weight of responsibility when it would have been easier to collapse under it. And through that suffering, they emerged transformed, prepared for the challenge ahead. Consider the seed buried in the earth. In darkness, it waits. It is subjected to pressure, to forces beyond its control. And yet, if it remains steadfast, if it does not rot, if it does not surrender to the weight pressing upon it, it will break through the surface. It will reach toward the light. It will become something far greater than it was when it was first planted. This is endurance. It is not simply surviving, it is becoming. It is allowing the suffering of today to mold you into the person capable of handling the responsibility of tomorrow. And make no mistake, responsibility is coming. The thing you've been waiting for is not just a gift, it is a challenge. And if you cannot endure the waiting, you will not withstand the weight of the blessing when it arrives. Endurance is not passive, it is not resignation, it is not giving up and simply accepting suffering as inevitable. No, endurance is active. It is a daily decision to press forward despite uncertainty, despite pain, despite the voices both internal and external that whisper that it would be easier to quit. You see, suffering has a strange way of shaping us. It exposes weakness, but in doing so, it offers the opportunity for strength. It forces you to confront yourself, your fears, your doubts, your inadequacies, and if you endure, if you refuse to break, you emerge sharper, wiser, more disciplined. You become a force to be reckoned with. But endurance is not glamorous. It is not instantaneous. It is not the quick fix that modern culture idolizes. No, endurance is slow, painful, and often lonely. It demands discipline when no one is watching. It requires faith when there is no evidence to support it. It asks you to hold the line even when it seems like nothing is changing. And yet those who endure, truly endure, find themselves transformed in ways they never could have imagined. They do not merely receive what they waited for, they become someone worthy of it. So ask yourself, are you enduring or are you merely waiting? Because there is a difference. Waiting is passive. Endurance is preparation. And the wait you are experiencing right now, it is shaping you. Whether you realize it or not, chaos before order, before anything meaningful emerges, before any true transformation takes place, there is chaos. It is an unavoidable part of existence, a fundamental reality woven into the fabric of life itself. You don't get order without first confronting disorder. You don't get clarity without first facing confusion. And you don't build something worthwhile without first tearing down what was weak, what was fragile, what was inadequate. This is a principle as old as time. Look at the creation of the world. In every ancient story, the universe does not begin in perfect harmony. It begins in formlessness, in darkness, in turmoil. And from that state of chaos, something new is brought into being. But the process isn't easy. It isn't painless. It isn't comfortable. It is violent. It is disorienting. It requires struggle. And yet this is precisely how growth occurs. If you want to improve, truly improve, you must first confront the disorder within yourself. You must face the areas of your life where things are unstable, unstructured, broken. And that is not an easy thing to do because chaos is terrifying. It threatens to consume you. It whispers that there is no way forward, no way to impose meaning on the mess. And so most people run from it. They avoid it. They pretend it doesn't exist. But ignoring chaos doesn't make it disappear. It festers, it grows in the shadows, it waits for the moment when you are weakest, and then it strikes. And if you are unprepared, if you have spent your life avoiding confrontation, rather than facing it, you will be overwhelmed. That is why the path to order, the path to meaning, to success, to purpose, always requires that you step directly into the chaos. You have to confront it. You have to wrestle with it. You have to look at the uncertainty, the pain, the fear, and refuse to back down. This is why so many people fail to reach their potential. They want success, but they don't want struggle. They want purpose, but they don't want to endure confusion. They want to build something meaningful, but they don't want to tear down the weak structures that are already in place. But that is not how life works. If you want to achieve anything of significance, you must be willing to let go of what is broken. You must allow the old dysfunctional ways of thinking and living to be destroyed so that something stronger can take their place. And that process, it looks like chaos. It feels like chaos, but it is necessary. The caterpillar does not become a butterfly by simply growing wings. It first dissolves. It disintegrates inside the cocoon. Its old form is completely broken down before something new emerges. And that process isn't pleasant. It isn't gentle. It is destruction followed by rebirth. And that is what your life will feel like when you are on the verge of something great. It will feel like everything is falling apart. It will feel like you are losing control. And in a way, you are. Because the old way, the comfortable way, is no longer sufficient. And something new must take its place. So do not fear the chaos. Do not mistake disorder for defeat. What feels like destruction may, in fact, be the very thing that leads to a breakthrough. The structures of your past, the habits, the beliefs, the ways of living that no longer serve you must be dismantled before new ones can be built. The only question is, will you endure the chaos long enough to reach the order that lies beyond it? Responsibility precedes blessing. Everyone wants the reward, but few are willing to bear the responsibility that comes before it. We long for success, for abundance, for meaning, but these things are not handed out arbitrarily. They are earned, and the price is responsibility. Think about it. You don't stumble into greatness. You don't simply wake up one day and find yourself blessed with success, with wisdom, with influence, with stability. No, these things come to those who first prove themselves capable of handling them. And how do you prove yourself? Through responsibility. Responsibility is the weight you must carry before you can be trusted with more. It is the discipline of preparing for what you seek, even before it arrives. It is the commitment to act as if you are already entrusted with the very thing you desire long before it manifests. You see this principle everywhere. A person who prays for financial prosperity but refuses to manage the little they already have will squander abundance when it arrives. Someone who desires a loving relationship but neglects the personal growth required to sustain one will inevitably sabotage it. A person who wants leadership but shirks the burdens of daily accountability will crumble under the weight of authority. This is why so many people never receive what they ask for. They are waiting for the blessing without first proving they can handle the responsibility that comes with it. And when they don't receive it, they grow bitter. They blame the world, they blame God, they blame their circumstances. But the truth is, they have not prepared themselves for what they seek. Responsibility forces you to become someone different. It is the weight that strengthens you, the struggle that refines you. It forces you to confront your weaknesses, your undisciplined habits, your fear of failure. It does not coddle you. It does not offer you an easy path, but it prepares you. It ensures that when the moment of opportunity arrives, you are not crushed beneath its weight. Think about a soldier preparing for battle. He does not wait until war comes to learn discipline. He does not sit idly by, hoping that when the time comes, he will somehow rise to the occasion. No, he trains. He pushes himself when no one is watching. He strengthens his mind and body so that when the fight arrives, he is ready. And so it is with life. If you wait for the blessing before you embrace the responsibility, you will not be ready when it comes. And here's the hard truth. Many people think they have been waiting for an opportunity when in reality, the opportunity has been waiting for them. Waiting for them to grow, to mature, to develop the discipline required to carry the weight of what they desire. If you want more, you must first be responsible with what you have. If you want greater influence, greater purpose, greater reward, then you must demonstrate that you are capable of managing what is already in your hands. Responsibility comes first. Blessing follows. That is the order. That is the rule. You do not get to skip the process. You do not get to sidestep the struggle. You must carry the weight before you receive the reward. And so the question is not, when will my blessing come? The question is, have I taken full responsibility for what I already have? Because if the answer is no, then you are not waiting for your blessing is waiting for you. Faith and action must align. Belief alone is not enough. Hope alone will not carry you forward. You can pray, you can dream, you can visualize a better future all you want, but if your actions do not align with your faith, you are deceiving yourself. This is one of the most overlooked truths in life. People often believe that faith is about sitting still, waiting for a miracle to arrive, waiting for something outside of themselves to intervene and change their circumstances. But that is not how the world works. That is not how transformation happens. Faith is not an excuse for passivity. It is a call to action. You cannot say you believe in something and then act in direct contradiction to that belief. If you claim to believe that things will improve, that you will overcome your struggles, that you are capable of achieving something great, but your actions reflect hesitation, laziness, or fear, then your faith is empty. Faith that is not followed by discipline, intentional action is not faith, it is wishful thinking. True faith demands movement. It demands that you live as though what you are waiting for is already on its way. It demands that you act as if the thing you hope for is not just possible, but inevitable. Think about a farmer who plants seeds in the ground. He does not simply scatter them, walk away, and hope that somehow a harvest will appear months later. No, he waters them, he tends to them. He pulls the weeds. He labors under the sun, day after day, long before he sees any visible results. His faith in the harvest is evident in his actions. He does not wait until the crops start growing to start working. He works in anticipation of their growth. And yet so many people live in contradiction to this principle. They say they want a better future, but they take no steps toward it. They ask for success, but they do not discipline themselves to prepare for it. They claim to believe in change, but they do not change their own habits, their own mindset, their own approach. Faith is not passive. It is not about waiting for external circumstances to shift before you decide to move. Faith is about stepping forward even when you cannot yet see the results. It is about showing up every day, putting in the effort, preparing for the thing you have yet to receive. And this is the test, because faith without action is not faith at all. It is fear in disguise. It is hesitation wrapped in false hope. It is a comfortable lie people tell themselves to avoid the responsibility of doing the work. All human wisdom is summed up in these two words: wait and hope. When faith and action align, transformation happens. That is when doors open. That is when change begins. That is when the thing you are waiting for moves toward you, because you have shown that you are ready for it. But until your actions reflect your belief, you are standing still. You are waiting for something that will never come, because you have not yet proven that you are serious about receiving it. So ask yourself, do your actions reflect your faith? Or are you hoping for a future you are unwilling to prepare for? Because faith without action is a wasted promise. And if you are not moving toward what you want, you cannot expect it to move toward you. Every struggle you face, every challenge that threatens to break you, every obstacle standing in your way, it all begins in one place: your mind. The greatest battles you will ever fight are not against other people, not against external circumstances, not even against the setbacks and hardships life throws at you. No, the real war is within. Your mind is the battlefield, and the outcome of that battle determines the trajectory of your life. Think about it. Before you ever take action, before you make a decision, before you push forward or retreat in fear, the battle has already taken place in your mind. Your thoughts dictate your choices, and your choices shape your reality. If your mind is filled with doubt, with fear, with excuses, then your actions or lack of action will reflect that. But if your mind is disciplined, if it is fortified against negativity, if it is trained to focus on what is true, then your actions will follow suit. The problem is that most people do not realize they are in a battle. They assume that their thoughts are just thoughts, harmless whispers in the background of their existence. But that is a dangerous mistake. Thoughts are not passive. They are the architects of your reality. And if you are not actively guarding your mind, then something else, your fears, your insecurities, the negative influences of the world will take control of it. Doubt is an enemy. It creeps in slowly, planting seeds of hesitation, making you question whether you are good enough, whether you are capable, whether your efforts will even matter. And if you do not challenge those thoughts, if you do not fight back, they will paralyze you. They will stop you before you even begin. Fear is another weapon used against you. It whispers that it is safer to stay where you are, to avoid risk, to remain comfortable, even when that comfort is leading to stagnation. But fear is a liar. It distorts reality. It magnifies failure while minimizing the cost of inaction. And if you allow fear to take hold in your mind, it will rule over you. It will dictate your choices, and you will watch opportunity after opportunity pass you by because you were too afraid to seize them. And then there's the voice of complacency. This one is subtle. It tells you that you are doing enough, that you don't need to push harder, that you don't need to discipline yourself further. It convinces you to settle for good enough when greatness was within your grasp. Complacency kills potential. It lulls you into mediocrity, and before you know it, years have passed, and you are no closer to becoming the person you were meant to be. So what do? How do you win the battle? You take control. You become aware of your thoughts. You recognize when doubt, fear, and complacency are trying to take over, and you reject them. You replace them with thoughts that strengthen you, that push you forward, that align with your purpose. This is not easy. It requires discipline. It requires daily effort. Just as you train your body to become stronger, you must train your mind. You must feed it with truth, with wisdom, with the kind of knowledge that empowers rather than weakens. You must guard it against toxic influences, against negativity, against people who try to drag you down, against voices that tell you to accept less than what you are capable of achieving. Because here's the truth, if you lose the battle in your mind, you will lose it in your actions. But if you master your mind, if you take control of your thoughts, if you align them with strength, discipline, and purpose, then there is nothing that can stop you. The question is, who is winning the battle in your mind right now? Because that battle is happening whether you acknowledge it or not. And the outcome? That is entirely up to you. Change is inevitable. Growth is necessary. And with both comes something that most people are not prepared for: a new burden. You see, people often pray for blessings, for success, for a new season of life, but they fail to understand one fundamental truth. Every new level of opportunity brings with it a new level of responsibility. You cannot step into something greater without also taking on the weight that comes with it. This is the reality of life. There is no true advancement without burden. Most people assume that when things get better, life will become easier. That success will bring comfort. That reaching the next stage will remove their struggles. But this is a dangerous misconception, because with every step forward, there is a new weight to carry, a new demand placed upon you, a new challenge that will test whether or not you are truly prepared for what you have been asking for. A new burden is coming. Whether you see it now or not, it is on its way. And the question is not whether it will arrive. The question is, will you be ready for it? Think about this. You do not become stronger by lifting lighter weights. If you want to grow, you must increase the load. The same is true in life. When you ask for more success, more responsibility, more influence, more purpose, you are asking for a heavier burden. You are asking for something that will stretch you, something that will challenge you, something that will demand a higher level of discipline, endurance, and sacrifice. And here's the harsh truth: most people are not willing to carry the burden that comes with the blessing. They want the reward without the responsibility. They want the achievement without the struggle. They want the success without the sacrifice. But life does not work that way. Look at anyone who has built something meaningful, anyone who has left a lasting impact. Did they get there by avoiding burden? No, they carried it. They took responsibility when others ran from it. They bore the weight of leadership, of discipline, of relentless effort. And because they did, they were entrusted with more. You must understand that the weight you carry now is preparing you for the weight that is coming next. If you cannot handle the pressure of your current season, you will not withstand the demands of the next. This is why endurance matters. This is why discipline matters. This is why you must develop the mental and emotional resilience necessary to face what is ahead. Because if you crumble under the weight of today, how will you stand under the weight of tomorrow? A new burden is coming, and it will test you. It will stretch you in ways you did not expect. It will require sacrifice, patience, and an unshakable commitment to growth. It will demand more of you than you thought possible. And if you are not ready, if you have spent your time waiting for an easier path rather than preparing for the challenge, you will find yourself overwhelmed. But here's the good news: the burden is not meant to break you, it is meant to build you. It is meant to strengthen you, to forge you into someone capable of carrying even greater things. It is a sign that you are ready for more, that you have been entrusted with something significant, that you are stepping into a higher level of purpose. So the question is not whether or not the burden will come. It is coming. The only question is, will you be ready?